Yo! Welcome back to One More Mana. My name is Derek, and today we are finally getting full into Throne of Eldraine. Before we get started, there's some really exciting news. We are affiliates with TCG Player now, and definitely go ahead, click on the link below, and if you're gonna go ahead, if you want to build this deck, if you want to build any other decks, definitely go through that link, buy your cards with TCG Player, and it will help support the channel. We really appreciate it, really do. I know we did the Chulane a little while back, and that was the Brawl pre-con, but I want to get into Eldraine itself today. And the first of a few legendary creatures we're going to be looking at in the coming weeks is Sir Konrad the Grim. Sir Konrad is awesome. It's an uncommon legendary creature, 5 mana, 5/4, with just an awesome. This card seems genuinely broken, and we're going to do a casual, fun, value build today with a little bit of spice in there, as usual. But there's definitely ways to build this. You can just break it. There's ways to combo off and just kill the whole table. This card seems insane, whether as a commander or it's just going to go in a ton of decks. This is, all right, we'll get into how cool it is when we go over its ability. So the first one, it's a whole lot of text. Essentially, whenever a creature dies, whenever a creature is put into your graveyard or any graveyard from anywhere except the battlefield, whenever a creature leaves the graveyard. So it's a whole bunch of stuff, literally. So stuff dies, stuff is just thrown into the graveyard, stuff is taken out of the graveyard. So this is so many things that can happen, and it all triggers Sir Konrad to deal 1 damage to each opponent. Some keys here. One of the keys is Sir Konrad's dealing damage to each opponent. Obviously it's not commander damage, not combat, but that's going to be crucial coming up in a little bit. The other key to that is it's each opponent. Any type of effect like this that is in each opponent and you don't have to target it, it gets crazy powerful. Because if you get those huge turns where you get a lot of triggers, that's killing the whole table. You don't have to worry about trying to target it here and there. He also has the last ability for 1 and a black that can mill. And again, this is for each player, so each player is going to mill the top card. In mono black, where you can create crazy amounts of mana sometimes, having this mana sink built in is awesome. It's not going to be the primary way we want to do it. We want to have other effects. But having this mana sink that just does what we want to do on our commander is so cool. This card seems so much fun, early game, late game. It's going to do some crazy stuff. So without further ado, let's get over this breakdown of how we want to win. So mono black, obviously there's going to be a lot of die effects. We're going to be running edict effects, different effects to just kill creatures. That goes without saying. That's one way to trigger. Now the other way is getting things to the graveyard other than from the battlefield. The first thing I think of here is milling yourself, milling other players, and Dredge is, as usual, shocker, is going to be broken and insane in this deck. Tons of mill effects, especially in black. We can mill ourselves, mill the table, and especially if other people are playing creature decks besides us, stuff will get crazy. And then you can also do discard effects. Now, I didn't go too heavy into this, but discarding creatures will also trigger this too. You have so many options of how to get these triggers. Now the last thing, stuff leaving the graveyard, this is one of those that this can be the finisher. If we're filling graveyards the whole game, all of a sudden, exile all the graveyards, you can easily have 20, 30, 40 creatures leaving at once. And getting all of these triggers, that's broken. That is just ridiculous. So this is a lot. I know a lot's coming at you to start. We're going to break it down as usual by category, get kind of each how we're going to do this. And trying to make this deck synergize. It's a lot of things we're trying to do, but we don't want to go in too many different directions at once. We want to make sure everything runs efficiently. We don't want to be, spreading ourselves thin in any one direction. So we're going to start with creatures. We do want to obviously run a good amount of creatures because that's what's triggering these effects for Sir Konrad. Now, our creatures are going to fit into a few categories, and again, we want it to synergize. The number one category we want is going to be that milling category, because I think that really seems to me like the most efficient way to get huge triggers off of Sir Konrad, and it's also setting us up to have that mass exile effect later, which is perfect. Now, in my mind, the best way to get this started is Dredge. I love Dredge. Things like Golgari Thug and different cards you can use, a Stinkweed Imp, stuff like this, you can just every turn be just milling and milling and milling and get those triggers. And once that adds up over time, that leads to those explosive turns. And it's just awesome, especially in the case of something like Stinkweed Imp. It has that old school Death Touch text on there, so it's killing creatures in addition. It's an awesome card. Dredge is always powerful, but in this deck, you can just dump your library into the graveyard and get those damage triggers. Another way is we want creatures to die. So a great way to do that is having what Black loves to do, stuff like Butcher of Malakir and Archfiend of Depravity, and just having lots of creatures die. You run a lot of edict effects like Fleshbag Martyr, those type of effects, and it's also a great way to control the board. And really the death triggers that we're going to use here are going to serve to protect us, keep us in the game, and control the board just as much as we care about those death triggers. Mill is pure damage. Exiling mass graveyard effects with this is going to be that pure damage that we're trying to get. But these creatures and sack effects do such a good job of keeping other players in control. And along these lines, if people are sacking stuff, you control their board, but you want to get lots of tokens out too. Again, this does a great job of allowing you to set yourself up for lots of sack effects, but also protects you. If you can get a board full of tokens, one, you're in a position where you can mass sack, get crazy value for your commander, and just knock people out. But also it makes you much harder to swing. A great example of this is Abhorrent Overlord. This thing is crazy. We're mono black, you're gonna get a bunch of harpies, but the thing is they're flyers, so it's great protection as well. Having a bunch of stuff in the air to protect yourself, in addition to it being all that sack fodder, is everything we want. Because Sir Konrad, from the looks of what I'm seeing, can be pretty threatening. It seems like a very powerful commander. So having an army in the skies with something like this is awesome. Again, sack fodder and triggers as well. It's doing everything we need it to do. Another great example of the same category is Ogre Slumlord. Stuff dies, we're going to have stuff die, and we get these rats, and it gives our rats death touch. With these two cards, again, you can get a flying army, you can get a death touch army. It makes you very undesirable to attack. When you can flood the board with this stuff, in a deck like this, sometimes you just need to stay alive for a few turns to set off that turn where you just go off and kill everyone. And stuff like this makes it so difficult. Because there's a lot of decks where you're trying to set yourself up, you don't have the protection. Nobody wants to attack in the death touch rat tokens because you're not going to lose much. They're losing a whole bunch. And on top of it, you're getting these death triggers from your commander because these death touch rats, yeah, they kill stuff. Looking at the artifacts, we got some mill stuff going on here. Altar of Dementia, Altar of the Brood. Altar of Dementia is awesome. It's a sack outlet. Lets us get that mill going, get triggers, just get our engine started, and it's awesome. We want a lot of sack outlets, and this is the type of stuff we love in this deck. Altar of the Brood is equally amazing. We mentioned there's going to be token creators. There's going to be ways to just pump out tokens. And even when it's not explosive, when you just have everyone milling every time you just play a land or play a creature, that's great. And all those explosive turns where you drop the Abhorrent Overlord, all that devotion, that's a lot of mill, a lot of damage triggers. Stuff gets crazy. So Group Mill is kind of the name of the game here. Maybe the best mill card though is Mind Crank. Because whenever an opponent loses life, they mill that many. But the thing is, your commander is causing loss of life by dealing damage. So essentially you can get into certain chains if people have creatures where everyone's milling because they're taking the damage. If someone hits a creature, all of a sudden everyone takes the damage again and has to mill again. And you basically just have to keep going until someone doesn't hit a creature. It's not going to be great in every game, but when you play against creature heavy decks and you're playing against lots of creatures, man, that's insane. You can get in some chains where you're just taking people out. More mill, shocker. Grindstone, Keening Stone can both do just an amazing job of getting some crazy mill effects. Now, obviously, Painter Servant's unbanned. You can run in this deck with Grindstone. I'm not a huge fan of infinite combos like that. I feel like this deck is already powerful enough. But if you want to go Painter Servant, Grindstone, here's a great deck to put it in there. It's going to be kind of ridiculous. But I just wanted the Grindstone. I feel like Grindstone's a great way you can mill yourself because you know you're mono black, or you can, target other players. Seems like a pretty cool card that you don't need to necessarily go infinite with to get the value out of, but you're welcome to. Keening Stone, you don't really need to say much about this. This is ridiculous. Graveyards are filling up. This is going to really mill people out fast and bad. This is one of the cards that can lead explosive turns. Obviously, mono black, getting lots of mana. You can possibly even play this activate at the same turn in some of the late game turns you get. Looking at the sorceries, one of the most important sorceries that you're going to run in any deck with any dredge is Buried Alive. Buried Alive is awesome because you can go get that Stinkweed Imp or that Golgari Thug and get the engine going. You want to be able to dredge, get the engine going, especially in this deck. Getting some creatures in there is a great way to start because there are some of these mass exile effects and stuff where you want a decent amount of creatures in your graveyard. So I really recommend putting in Buried Alive. You can pick and choose what you want. Not to mention, you also get the triggers for the 3 creatures you're putting in. So that's pretty cool. Probably the 2 most important sorceries in the deck are Living Death and Morality Shift. These cause some just insane triggers if you've been doing all that milling you're supposed to be doing throughout the game. Living Death is essentially going to get a trigger for Sir Konrad for every creature in every graveyard. This can just kill everybody. This has a very good chance if you've been milling the way you should throughout the game. This can be a finisher in this deck and it can get crazy. Morality Shift can have a similar effect. If it's getting it, this is a late game just bomb, and I really want to see how this one actually plays out in reality. On paper, it seems crazy, but I don't know how it's actually going to work. But if it does, in a dream world, if you milled most of your deck and you get to the crazy point, you don't have any cards left, and you swap your library with your graveyard, that's going to be a ton of triggers because all those creatures are technically leaving the graveyard. Stuff will get crazy there. So this is the type of card. It seems like a home run. It seems like one of those cards. I just don't know if it's too far in a Magical Christmas Land. I don't know if you draw this card. It is 7 mana. So if you draw this early game, is it just a dead draw? I don't know. It seems like it could be really good, but it is something I feel like I need to see how it actually plays out. Now with the enchantments, I think based on some cards that popped up, you already might know my whole game-winning step. You might not be surprised. It's probably not going to be a surprise for anyone who's watched any of these videos, but I'm still going to pretend like it's secret. We're just going to focus on one enchantment for now, and that's Tombstone Stairwell. It's a card I've talked about before. Ever since I've discovered it, I find myself putting it into more and more decks, and this might be the deck that uses it the best. Really how it works is everybody's upkeep, they get a number of zombies with haste equal to the number of creatures in their graveyard. But the crazy thing about this card, and I feel like they wouldn't word it like this on any card that was printed today, all those creatures are sacrificed at the end step, meaning they die, meaning you get all those Sir Konrad triggers. Now, obviously the risk is people make a bunch of 2/2 zombies, you've been milling them. They see that you're the threat and they swing it all at you. So you need to be smart about it. It can be a risky card, but I feel like it is so much fun with just the chaos it creates. Hopefully you've been playing the politics throughout the game. Maybe you give people all those zombies. They might even swing it at somebody else because they're already frustrated with them. So, listen to those laws of power. Get your politics going. And this card may even work better. But at its worst, you get a lot of death triggers. And it speeds the game up, causes some chaos. And I'm never against cards like that. Looking at the instance, again, the game-winning step might be kind of peeking its head out here. If you look at the list, if you haven't caught at this point, go back, watch the rest of our deck text. Then you'll know. But the one I will talk about, similar to a card I talked about before, is Entomb. This is a deck where you do want certain cards in the graveyard, specifically dredge cards. And dredge is the best way early game to get an engine going. Entomb's great. Any type of deck where you care about certain things in your graveyard and you want specific cards that you want Entomb. It's instant speed. It's 1 mana. It is awesome. And the other one is Scour from Existence. This is a card I talked about in the recent Deck Doctor. And when you're playing mono black, you need permanent removal. What is better than an instant speed way to exile a permanent? Now, it's not flashy. It's 7 mana. But when you're running mono black, you need cards like this. It's not as much fun to put in as some of these other flashy effects, and it's not very mana efficient. But you need these effects because there's going to be times in a game where, what if somebody gets a Glacial Chasm out and you don't have access to your strip mine? This is the type of card that will, because our commander deals damage, that can shut down your deck. Well, Scour from Existence is an answer for that at instant speed. It's one of those cards where you draw, even if you get it in your opening hand, just hold on to it. Hold on to it, especially in mono black, who don't have the most permanent removal. Hold it and just wait, because there's going to be that one time in the game when you want to go off, one thing will be stopping you, and this is the perfect answer for it. Looking at the lands, it's mono black, your Rampart, Cabal Stronghold, Cabal Coffers, ramp. That's what we like to do in mono black. But the most important one in my mind is Scavenger Grounds. This is going to exile all cards from all graveyards. This can by itself be a finisher, because if you've been filling those graveyards, you just exile everyone's graveyard. It's not hard to have, 20, 30 creatures, especially with the way our deck is constructed, in all graveyards combined. This card, Scavenger Grounds, can be a finisher. This card is crazy, it is awesome, and it's hidden on a land because people forget. There are so many times where I play, there's a Scavenger Grounds or a Maze of It. There's so many different utility lands that people forget the land's even there. They're really sneaky, and it is an awesome effect to have there for you. So that's going to do it for all the categories. On to my favorite part, the game-winning step. How are we about to win the game? And if you started peeking some of the cards I failed to mention throughout the deck tech, you already know what this game-winning step is. His name's Sir Konrad, and he's a human knight. But by the end of this deck tech, the end of the time you start playing with him, he's about to be a knight horror because he is going to be a piece of Phyrexian perfection because we're going Infect with this guy. Infect is, in my mind, the most fun way to win with him. He deals damage. As soon as I said that, as soon as I said he deals damage to each player, you should know Infect was coming in because dealing damage to each with all these ways to get triggers makes Infect amazing in this deck. We're going to run Grafted Exoskeleton. We're going to run Phyresis, Glistening Oil, Tainted Strike, and if there are any other cards that give him Infect, please let me know about them because I want them in there too. I love it. You're literally just spraying everybody. It's like a little sprinkler just going around at the table, just oozing Phyrexian oil at everybody every time a creature dies, and it just builds up so fast, and before you know it, everyone is choking on poison. It's the best way to do it. Now, I know there's some people literally watching that want to reach through the screen and just slap me in the face for even suggesting this, and I can't blame you. I understand people don't like Infect, but oh my god, this is just such a cool deck to do it, and I think it's really fair too. It's powerful, but there are plenty of ways to just combo off and kill people. They're gonna see the Infect kills coming, and their enchantments, their equipment, they're really not that hard to remove. I just think it's a really cool, especially mono black Infect. To me, that is the most fun way to build this. And I actually ran tutors. I don't tend to run tutors, but I even threw tutors in here with like demonic tutor, diabolic tutor as ways to fetch these Infect givers that we can, have more effects like that, so we can reliably get Sir Konrad Infect. But again, for all the Infect haters, I get it. I won't even argue. We'll agree to disagree. But the deck will work just fine. If you substitute these Infect enablers for just other token producers and other mill cards and other redundant effects, the deck's going to run just fine. It's only 4 or 5 cards in the whole deck, and you can go for more of that, value-based game. Gauge it for your playgroup. Certain playgroups are just not going to be about it, but the ones that are, just spread the poison, spread the Infect. I'll help Phyrexian. And that's going to do it for this week's deck tech. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really hope you guys are excited about eldraine. I'm mixed happy on the set as well. I really like it. I'm still genuinely just perplexed on how all these boosters work. There's different types of boosters. There's full art foils, there's non-foils, there's alternate art. I don't know what's going on. I just don't want to buy some pretty cards and I'll worry about exactly where they came from later. But the set looks really cool. Sir Konrad seems crazy. As an uncommon commander, it seems like it could be pretty strong. And again, like I said, I'm sure there's some combo ways to build this and just take people out even faster than Infect. But let me know what you guys think. If you have some cool builds for it, I would love to see it. Let me know which commanders you're most excited about. I would love to hear it. I have a few deck lists already built, but I would love to take suggestions as well. So definitely let me know what you think. We got some more deck doctors coming in the future. I know I say every week, gameplay videos are coming very soon, so be excited. Also, super exciting news, we are affiliates with TCG Player. So, what you need to do is, this seems like an awesome deck. Sir Konrad seems super powerful. So if you want to build him, or if you just want to buy every Infect card ever in existence, I did it a couple years ago. It was a great decision. I have all the Infect cards I need. Go to the link below, and any cards you purchase from that link will help support the channel, help us get more, even better quality content, more content, and really help us just keep pumping out all the videos for you guys. We really appreciate all the love, really do. As always, to all the patrons, love y'all so much. Really do appreciate all the support, and we just got so much exciting stuff coming. So stay tuned, stay locked in, and be ready for more Throne of Eldraine coming very soon. But until then, I will see you guys next time.